wake up. Waiting for them to wake up. YouTube is awake-ish.
Here we go.
Excellent connection. And, yep, Instagram is awake. All right, we're live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Making Turbo Pit Fighter, a post-apocalyptic sci-fi comic that we are working on every Sunday for about an hour. I'm Jake, and I'm here with Kurt, as usual. And Kurt is working on the inks. I'm working on the pencil. So we do this in split screen each and every Sunday. I brought out a picture of Esoteric because today we're going to go over the Esoteric character as the next installment on our End of the World Index. And I'm also going to be penciling Turbo number 2. And right off the bat, Kurt, I got a dilemma. So, yes, I do, sir. So you see this pad here of Canson comic book paper, professional.
Yeah.
So I bought this, and it was $19.29. And it's supposed to be like comic book artboards that are all ruled out and everything. As you can see here, you have the blue line, and it gives you the boundaries and the trim lines and everything. But it doesn't match the ones that I've been using from this other brand. I guess I was using the Strathmore before, and all of these Turbo pages that I've been working on for Turbo number 2, starting here on the inside page. This is just page 1. It's a Strathmore, and it doesn't line up, for God's sakes.
What's not lining up? Is it just the? It's the same paper size, right?
No, that's the point. It's not exactly. Yeah, it's a slightly different.
It's not 11 by 17.
Well, no, not exactly. They have a different proportion here. I have a ruler. So you counting from the trim line to the trim line, and it's an odd number. Let's see. From the trim line to the trim line, here on this paper, it is 15 1/4. And then when you get on this paper, now the size doesn't matter as much as the ratio, right? But I just don't want to have to I want to just trust the blue lines that I printed. And so here from trim line to trim line, it is 15 exactly. So, right in the so this pad came with 24 pages, and I'm at the last one. I used the last one, so I'm ready for page 25. Well, they're numbered 23, so I must have lost one somewhere. But that's what that pad was. And here's all the pages for issue number 2, all done on this comic paper, which I trusted that these guys have one standard. But between Strathmore and Canson, it doesn't line up. Now, I see this is in French here. Papiers d'inspiration depuis. So I got to worry about this. I mean, all I'll have to do is just alter one line, either the bottom line or the side line.
Do they still make the Strathmore one?
I think so. Yeah,
but just get another pad of that and just save that pad for a different comic book.
Well, I'm starting. This is where I need to start today. I mean, I could go ahead and do another rough page here. This is the rough page for Turbo page 24, issue 2. The explosion of the orphanage, and then so that's what I guess what I'll have to do is because I think I have another pad of Strathmore at work. At school, and I can just swap this one for that one, and this way I'm not ripping off the DOE or vice versa. But yeah, what a pain in the buns, huh?
Yeah, it seems that one would assume there's a
A
standard.
single standard. Right. I mean, it
But
says real big at the top, prints at 67%. And here it doesn't say anything. It says extend all bleed art to solid outer line. And yeah, what the hell, man? I mean, it's only off very, very slightly. And if I just went ahead and did this, we could probably just, use a horizontal scaling because, it's probably like less than 1% or less than 2%. But
is your OCD going to be able to handle it?
yeah, well, I don't want to have to do that. Anyway, so yeah, so I guess I'll just flip this page, and we were just we spoke about it last episode. We were just transitioning to this sequence here where Turbo is walking in for the first time to the orphanage, dripping with blood, and then Sister Ray takes her in and comforts her and everything, and you got the nuns with the guns in the background, and then we're close on her face and her eyes, which was your suggestion, but I think I was going to probably do that anyway. And then we're going to go here to a brand new page. So this will be me looking for my roughs. Bum, bum, bum. And page 25. Oh, I see the problem. My numbering doesn't match. Oh, that was page 1. Yeah, so I need page 24. Yeah, so page 25, it says back to, that's enough. We've got to keep moving. So it'll be like Trophy Girl's wiping the blood off Turbo's face from the last battle. We're going to show the van moving down the highway, the rough roads, the steep, they're on these steep hills. They're going to start going downhill towards a city. It says, they're still coming. Heat signature less than 5 miles, boss. That's the robot. The rest of the way is all downhill, straight to the city. We need a name for the city. Steep as F. And watch those sinkholes. Roads haven't been maintained since the megapocalypse. You see how I'm putting in a reference to the fact that in Road Warrior and all these post-apocalyptic stories that they just assume the roads, are maintained. That's not going to be like that in real life. Heavy arms are entering. No freebooters. This whole town is full of deserters, mercs, and gearheads. And then they're going to see that heavy arms are entering. What does that note mean? Okay, so that's something to figure out. We've got company. They're going to be followed. Should I drop some tumbler eggs? We've got company. We're being followed. So right off the bat, they're already being followed by somebody. They pick up somebody else in an armored car that's going to be chasing them. So that last panel should be cool. I can draw the armored car. And then we're going to meet Mr. Ike soon enough.
Yay, Mr. Ike.
Page 26 after that, they're going down the road. There's an explosion. Pulls him up. Oh, that's Mr. Ike. You're the last one I expected to see. Another explosion. But boy, am I glad. He has a kill switch, and there's an explosion. Oh, so what's going to happen is they're going to go down the street, and they're trying to find Mr. Ike, but they see him running up the street with explosions happening all around him. And he jumps into the car, and then we see that it's his wife. So I might have to, we're going to have to, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have to explain this and add some dialogue that's not here. So that'll be fun. But the very next panels that I need to do here. So this is kind of like a non-action scene for the first time. And I'm going to get my blue line pencil. And you can see here, I have this piece of like, what do you call this stuff? It's not plastic, or maybe it is plastic. It's like plastic paper.
Vinyl?
Yeah, I think it's vinyl. As you can see here, I have this cut to size to the right proportion, so I can just trace this on my pad now, and I should be okay. As long as I stay within the confines. So we had a couple things we wanted to talk about today, Kurt.
Yes.
And moving on a couple of longer term goals. We have. Are you covering that with gray? All that line work?
Yeah. Well, it's not covering it.
Oh, is that like a translucent?
Yeah, it's watered down gouache.
Oh, interesting. So that's one of those pens where you stick the liquid inside?
Nope, it's just water. I've got a palette here full of stuff, so I can control it better. I've tried to do the it in there, like it's just for me, it's just too complicated. I'm just
Right. Remember when we reviewed like some 6 pages before, we one of the commentaries, constructive criticisms, not just from me, was that too much mid-tone grays and not enough blacks and whites dynamics. But it looks
yeah.
like you got everything on those panels, right?
Oh yeah, and the reason I use gouache is because it reanimates, so I can lift it back up and I can work right over the top of it, and do that. But the reason I'm doing that is that I need some distinction on their uniforms, so the texture and the gray are going to do that, and then I'll be doing other fancy stuff
Hear
to.
that, folks? There's a thought process going into every panel and every figure here. Almost like we're professional or something.
Close to it.
So one of the things we had to do is, as everybody knows, we have our Turbo comic that you're watching in production. We also have our End of the World timeline, which is our Doom Mag Substack. Anybody could go there and subscribe, and each week you get a little bit of sci-fi writing in your inbox. And what are we writing about? We're writing about the world that leads up to the megapocalypse and leads up to this turbo wasteland. So we don't just drop you in and say the world went to hell. We explain how and why. And there's a whole bunch of characters, a panoply of characters.
Whoa.
And we're going to be going over the third character in the timeline today, which is going to be Esoterra. But we've also set this goal, right? That's Kurt's showing you right there. This is the End of the World Index, which is just pencils, and he's going to ink that at some point. So we're going to be going over Esoterra today. But we also have 6 pagers completed of the Casualties, of Wheelu, who is not shown there, but she is a devotee of Esoterra, so it ties in there. And we also have a 6-pager of Charvel. Oh no, so Charvel the Casualty, and we also have one of Pitch Blend, who is also not shown there, but she was enhanced by Elevena, which is there on the bottom, and becomes a rescuer, or her team is called the Rectifier. So we have 2 6-pager scripts fully available for an artist, and one other one that we're reserving for Ken Landgraf to see if he'll do it as is. And so one of the segments that we're going to do today is that Kurt is going to comment on the 6-pager that we sent to Ken Landgraf, and I have the thumbnails here that I can go over, and I'll probably just have to lower my arm a little bit to get a good view of it all. But Kurt, what are your impressions of the 6-pager that starts out with Charvel trapped in an airport bathroom?
Why do I want to keep moving with I don't want my paint and everything to dry and everything. So, can you just kind of vocalize page and
Okay, yeah,
panel,
I'll bring us through.
all the way through? Because
I'll bring us.
I don't. I'm
Yeah,
in
no
mid.
problem. I'll bring us through it. But I gotta find the right page here. So this is where professional broadcasters would have had this all queued up already. Oh boy. Um, we have because I have been doing a lot of sketching, and sometimes I do these big faces. And there's Wee Lou. Oh, this, and I have a couple of different pads I'm working on at the same time. This is a sneak preview of something that I haven't shown Kurt yet. Here we go. So, oh, and here I'm gonna send you a scan of this. Here are the Marauders, who are the bad guys.
Nice.
This is
Nice.
the character study for Ken Landgraf. This is going to be Bruno Moroder, a former doctor turned televangelist. Here it says he was a quantum professor turned megachurch pastor, cult ruler. He cut a territory deal with the Dehubertans for the EU dibs on the Glower children. Here is his female companion, Bianca Moroder. She's a headmistress of a charter school syndicate, a fake psychic who preys on the poor and misguided. And both of these guys have 20-year history of live casting, religious programming, and a carnival atmosphere. He has developed the ability to create fireballs or energy balls out of thin air, which has made him, billions of dollars as a televangelist. But the funny part about him is that that's about the limits of his powers. So he's nowhere near Esoterra's powers, and he's trying so badly to attain those powers. And his plan is to breed with a female that has the right DNA like Esoterra to create a child who will have those powers. But he gets thwarted. He wants to kidnap Charvel in this 6-pager, and he gets thwarted by the Casualties. So here is the roughs, and actually, instead of bringing down my arm, I'm gonna just bring up a box here and see if this works. Ta-da! Yeah, that'll work. So page 1. So this is a 6-pager, and you're just jumping right in. Now I have some prose written on the page. If you go to hellclaw.com/Charvel, you can see the whole 6-page script and the prose that leads into it, which probably just needs a little editing. But it's going to open on page 1, and here we see Charvel, who is she's a tall girl. She's almost 7 foot tall. Let's see. It says here, the little intro that we're going to give the artist, and that might be the famous Ken Landgraf, is going to say, it's 2020. It's 2213 in dystopian North America.
Just for clarity, Ken doesn't do the text.
No, I know.
That's not included in his price.
Right, but he has to read it in order to
oh,
lay
I
out.
see. I see. I thought you were saying that that was going to be included in the
well,
the page itself, right?
Yeah, he also needs to create a space for it, right?
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
So he's got, I'm sure he's experienced with that. All artists know that you need space for the dialogue and the narration. It's 2213 in dystopian North. Should I change my voice? It's 2213 in dystopian North America. Most civil functions are privatized by the Dehubertans corporations. Government institutions are still limping along, but many aspects of life are in decline as drones, robots, and high-tech weapons technology have changed society, forcing people to either move to a corporate-controlled area or live in a resistance area. I think I want to put in something about P-bots there too. Page 1. Charvel is not yet 18, a 6'8" tall teenager in athletic clothes, holding a bloody makeshift knife made of broken glass and rags in an airport bathroom, Sprawled out on the floor, quivering in death throes, is a hired mercenary bleeding out. Charvel recoils, realizing she just killed someone. To the left, more hired mercenaries point high-tech weapons, and to the right, behind Charvel, to the right, her mom and three sisters cower in terror at the violence unfolding. So this is just like a thumbnail layout of that, and those Gil Kane sprawling bodies. I definitely put one right there at the beginning because I know Ken likes that. Narrator: we were trapped in the airport bathroom, cornered like rats. I wasn't sure how. I just struck out, surprising myself as much as anyone. Mercenary 1: he's dead. Mercenary 2: you'll pay for this, freak. Charvel's sisters sob, sniff. Panel 2: emerging through the doorway is Dr. Bruno Moroder, dramatically displaying a magical fiery swirl above his outstretched palm. See, he's using that one trick he has. Behind him, we see Bianca Moroder lurking, looking sinister, and behind her, we see the hanging door has been blown off its hinges. Right, because that's how the bad guys got into the bathroom. Dr. Bruno: she must not be harmed. And then the mercenary off camera: Dr. Moroder. Dr. Bruno: yes, underlings, I have arrived at last to at last claim my newest possession. So here, right here, small panel. Can you see this okay, Kurt?
Yep.
Am I centered? Okay. Small panel. Moroder's telekinetic fireball forces Charvel to drop her weapon. Sound effect: foof. Charvel: but how? So he can do small things with these small little fireballs, these little energy balls. It's not just for show, but it's just like, it'll knock a weapon out of your hand, but it won't blow up a water tower or something like that. Here, number 4, Dr. Bruno firmly embraces the much taller Charvel, his face an inch from hers. Behind is a tile wall. I have some typos here I'm fixing. Behind is a tile wall. Impressed by my powers, are we, my dear? So shall you fancy the powers of our children. Charvel: Dr. Bruno: from now on, nothing will come between us. And he's squeezing her close. And that's the end of page 1. So let me skip back to my camera view here. No, I don't need that tab. Okay. I don't know why Riverside has 2 tabs open. There. Okay. Now page 2. And back to the dialogue. A gigantic fiery claw busts through the tile wall, knocking tiles in every direction. Kazam! Dr. Bruno is thrown back to the left, while Charvel falls to the right, hand protecting her face. Dr. Bruno: what in? 2, splash panel. So this shows Hellclaw stepping from the tarmac into the bathroom through the hole in the wall. Her hand is gnarled, surrounded by a gigantic fiery fireclaw. Approaching the hole behind her is Chromita the Shebot, one hand visible, which is converted into high-tech rifle turrets. In the distance, we can see Esoterra levitating in the sky. On the floor, flaming debris lies about. Hellclaw: for Christ's sakes, could this pervo be any more cliched? Charvel off camera: Hellclaw, Chromita, Esoterra. And Esoterra will be bolder. Hellclaw: sorry we came before the action started, kid, but we're here to mop up the filth. Chromita: high-powered munitions detected. To all, and Kurt knows that we'll have that computer font, right? Like Deathlock. To all armed suspects, lay down weapons to avoid immediate termination. And I'm going to take out the exclamation point so it sounds a little more monotone. I don't know why I would do that, because the AI will have regular voices with intonation. Anyway.
Yeah, but we're just going back to the 80s.
Right.
This is all just that deliciousness that we
Would you like to
experienced in
play
the
a game?
80s. That is so awesome.
Um,
Yes.
so here we got panel 3. This is Dr. Bruno is foist on his own butt, and he's lying on the rubble. Laying on his back amid smoking debris, Dr. Bruno angrily spits orders, pointing at Hellclaw. On the contrary, it is you who is headed for the scrap heap. Destroy them! Panel 4, a shot here of Bianca, and her arm is in the air as she flings a dozen high-tech explosive projectile darts towards the camera. Narrator, just then Bianca unleashed a hail of death spikes. I was sure that was that. But then, ... we're going to page 3. Remember, I told you this is going to be like splash panel city here. And let me just make sure I can line this up so we can see what we're doing, because I'm kind of covering my keyboard at this point. Just trying to see what's going on. All right, so here, page 3, it says, and I quote, action panel. Oh, so there's 2 panels, and they're both action panels. So the first one is kind of like smaller, horizontal. Action panel of Hellclaw. Her hand gnarled as the giant Fireclaw expands to detonate the darts harmlessly mid-air in little puffs of smoke and shrapnel. Behind her, Chromita approaches in silhouette, but for her glowing, defiant eyes. Narrator, it was time for the Hellclaw to strike back. Sounds, paff, paff, paff. Now, this bigger panel here, giant splash of Chromita in action, lunging into action. That I understand is a little superfluous, so we'll take out one of those actions. It's not how you were going to proofread it.
Action.
Right, so much action.
You want me proofreading?
I got it. I'm doing it.
It doesn't.
So a giant splash of Chromita lunging into action. Her hands turned into multi-turret blasters, firing away. In foreground, the mercenaries are reduced to Swiss cheese, riddled with bullets. In top right, we see Charvel. Why do I? Okay. Protecting the 3 little girls and her crazy mom, hysterical in the back of the stall. And if we can show her really looking hysterical, that would be kind of like a little foreshadowing to what's going to happen. Narrator, followed up by Chromita raining photonic blaster fire with deadly precision. Chromita, criminal abductors, prepare to meet your fate.
Nice.
Actually, I'm going to write, prepare to meet your end. Mercenaries, Urk, Ugh, Ag. So we'll go Urk, Ag, right here. I'm just adding these little notes. Page 4. See how we're whipping through this?
Exciting.
So right now we're up here to page 4. I'm just trying to center this out. So we're gonna see a splash of Hellclaw, a splash of Chromita, and then here we're gonna see a splash of Esoterra. Page 4. Here we see a close-up of Dr. Bruno, red-faced, filled with rage, is lifted off the ground by the devoted Bianca as he points at Charvel's mom. I don't. Yeah, lift is helped. I'm gonna write helped off the ground. I don't want to make it seem like he's helped up by the. I don't want to make it seem like she's being lifted like Hercules. As he points at Charvel's mom. Idiots! This was all arranged by her mother. Ask her. Panel 2, close on Charvel's mom. You see how I have the big eyes here? The big doe eye, the big deer in the headlights?
Yeah.
Close on Charvel's mom, like a deer in headlights. I don't know if that's going to help or hurt, but shocked at the accusation. Towering above her looms Charvel, skeptical. So that might be hard with the face expressions. Charvel, Mom, is this? Charvel's mom. No, it's not like that. I thought the league contract was real. If we don't really explain that, it's because there's a whole page of prose leading into this 6-pager that explains that they got lured to Budapest with a fake professional female basketball contract for Charvel, but they were just being lured there for abduction. And so right here, the mom is being accused of being in on it. A tall panel shows Esoterra, so this would be kind of like the splash panel, levitating into the bathroom, hovering above a cloud of quantum particles. And as Kurt knows, we just draw quantum particles as this kind of like gobbledygook artifacts floating in the air, right?
Yep.
Narrator, suddenly at this moment of heightened tension, who approached me in a swirl of colorful photo-optic Q particles, but Charvel. Esoterra! Esoterra, it is time. Come closer, child, to embrace your destiny. So she's going to have 3 different word balloons to heighten the, I guess, drama of it. And panel number 4, Esoterra's hand casts a shadow as she reaches down to touch the face of Charvel, who looks up to her with wonder. The hand is surrounded by shimmering particles and quantum artifacts. Esoterra, allow me to touch you. Charvel, it's really you, just like in the dream. So now something's happening here in the midst of all this mayhem. Something trippy, right? Let me move my thing here so it could be seen. Okay. So now we're going to see a big hand in your face, in the reader's face. It says, a trippy wide panel with Esoterra's hand super close up in foreground. A cosmic eye design in the center. I have to draw that here. There's an eye in her hand. Behind the hand, we see her face and eyes glowing brightly with swirling Q particle designs all about. See that's going to be a cool trippy panel. Esoterra, with this, I give you new eyes. ... To reveal that which is inside and out. Panel 2. This is a tall panel now here. Of tall panel showing Charvel standing tall. That's redundant. Her head and torso enveloped in glowing, shimmering Q particles, as Esoterra, floating above, lays her hand across Charvel's face. So here's Esoterra's hand coming down and actually touching her face. So we were like 2 panels leading up to this moment of touching. And Charvel is being energized, experiencing an awakening. Charvel, I see so much. I see danger. Then here, a splash panel of a Kirby-esque robot, many stories tall, smashing in the roof with one wrecking ball hand and the other hand shaped like an armed bucket, which Bruno is climbing into. Debris flying everywhere as Hellclaw and Chromita are scattered about. Sound effect, crash. I wonder if I should turn that into crumble. I'm going to make that into crumble with a K. Crumble. All right. Dr. Bruno. Fools! Enough meaningless imbecility. I take my leave of this place. Many other broodmares await my seed. Panel 4. What?
I love it.
Panel 4. You know I have the melodramatic dialogue, right?
I love it.
Yeah, it just, For panel 4, Dr. Bruno is ranting madly in the bucket, pointing a huge mounted energy gun at the heroines. The gun is powering up with crackling energy. I wrote cracking energy. Crackling energy. Dr. Bruno, for it is I who shall create the Q Essentia, the ultimate beings of hyperdimensional ascension. Hyperdimension, right? So now we're introducing the word Q essentia, which will be bolded and everything. Those are the beings that he's trying to create. So I guess we have a word now for what esoteric is, the Q essentia, whatever. Just made that up. Leave me alone. Dr. Bruno, as for this trashy beanpole, ... So now he's aiming the gun at Charvel. In the foreground, all right, so now we're on the last page already. Can you believe it, man? So here is going to be some action too. All right. In the foreground, Dr. Bruno points and fires the big gun at Charvel. But Charvel's mom steps in the way at the last moment, taking the blast instead. Dr. Bruno, if I shan't have her, no one shall. Sound effect. Zweet. Charvel's mom, this is all my fault. Charvel, wait. Mom, no. Panel 2. A dramatic shot of Charvel's mom, eyes dilated, staring up blankly, hit fatally in the stomach, gasping with blood on her lips. Charvel leans over in disbelief. I'm not showing her. Ah, oh no. Charvel leans over in disbelief as the little sisters shriek in the background. Oh, I have her here. So here will be the little sisters. And Charvel's mom, this was all my fault. I caused this. Charvel, Mom, no, it wasn't you. It was a much larger force. The Moroders. I see it all now. I have to add something. Okay. Narration. It was at that moment, overcome with grief, my inner purpose was awakened. ... Here, a thin, wide panel on Charvel's face, racked with shocked realization. Charvel, I can feel their all-consuming evil. I can feel it about to... And then here, panel 4. In the corner, we can see the giant robot has taken flight and is shooting its cannon down into the room, blowing everything asunder. We see the edge-lit silhouette of Charvel bracing to endure the explosion as Esoterra and Hellclaw are sent sprawling among the debris. Again, Dr. Bruno, loutish dolts, taste now the unbridled might of my vaporizer cannon. Narration. In that moment, my fate was sealed. I knew a singular mission remained. At any cost, this matter would be rectified. All caps. Caption to be continued. And that's it. So you see, Kurt, honestly, I am asking a lot of the artist, right? There's like,
I'm glad you're saying that.
There's 3 panel, there's 3, splash. It's like 3 pinups, but it's worked into a story. Lots of dialogue in and out, and one good thing is that it does move from the page to the page. But now your long-awaited thoughts and suggestions and commentary, please.
My number one responsibility is to keep you centered on who you are and how you make. I think the thing that we're experiencing every Sunday, getting together, we just did IC3, which was a big eye opener. It's the script. I have no issue with. What my concern lies, and it's not just with somebody like Ken Landgraf, it's how somebody would create some anxiety for themselves in order to do their best job without, maybe a lot of support and then even a lot of leeway. So, the thing that I find, I'll always have found, I was going back literally to like 1999 and 2000 and sitting with you and you doing this, quite often, and the voices, not the comedic voices, but the way the characters in their design have their own voices. And I know that's like super important to you. I just don't want us, because this will be the first time getting something, back from another artist that's going to get included in, Turbo's world, the end of the world timeline.
Yeah.
That the expectations are set realistic, and that the reality from my vantage point is to send as much support material as which you have. We have plenty doodles, sketches.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like those, I think the more specific those things are. Here's this character. Oh, okay. It's a metallic character, and somebody like Ken is going to go, oh, okay, well, this is where Cremita is, make sure I make all those indications of things. Oh, here's this character. Oh, she's very tall and skinny. Oh, okay, and she's kind of teenager, so she's young. Okay, well, here she is, that type of thing. The square boxes, the panel sequences, the size of panels, these are all things that can be placed in consideration in the script. In other words, you could say, I've done this a lot. For myself, by the way, writing out something, I got a 4-panel page, and I'll indicate panel 2 is largest panel. So then everything else is subjected to floating around or, help moving that along. But I'm excited to this will be the first thing that'll go out. And then when it comes back, because Ken is super efficient, and it's going to be awesome to have that next layer in our world, and working with others, because I didn't get as much time with Ken at IC3 Friday night. I did get to sit with him a little bit, and he's so incredible. And when I had him do the 4-pager, which is the beginning of a series for my Crom anthology, I am so excited for his interpretation that, he's the outlaw. You know what I mean? Like the thing I personally have a huge amount of I'm not with is the idea like, oh, you make comic books? Well, here's a puppy dog comic book I want you to make. I mean, you're not going to get me to do a puppy dog comic book.
Oh my God.
No matter how much.
I see that on Instagram when people go my latest commission, and it's like, Mickey Mouse as Captain America or whatever.
Yeah, it's just so when the artist is, and this is historically speaking, when the artist is lined up with the writer and the writing, then that's where amazing things happen. I mean, the Alan Moore, getting with his specific artists, because he knows they understand what he's trying to tell as a story, but the visual aspect is obviously the artist's responsibility. So it's going to be great because, we do have other people lined up. Alex Turbin was on last week, and when we were discussing this, what's being discussed right now. And he reached out to me and said, oh, is there any room for me? And we'll talk to Jake, and see what's going. And you graciously said, if Alex picked a character, you're going to write something. That right there to me is the magic in comics collaboration.
Yeah.
Is, there's 153, this being it, videos of 45-minute average length time where, creator, do your homework. I mean, if you want somebody to write for you and you want to be a part of a comic book project, well, here it is, Jake Jacobs. You pick the character and he's going to write you a 6-pager. So we're at the beginning. I want to leave it at that. We're at the beginning of something, and I see nothing but success going forward, and momentum as well. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So I think at this point we're ready to present it to Ken, and
Yep.
maybe even send him a link to this episode where he could see the
Sure.
run through of the thing, and we'll see what he says. And Ken's Ken. He's going to Kenify it. We already have a pin up of him doing turbo, so we already know what to expect. And and we can't wait to see if he says okay as is, or if he wants to change something and get a little leeway. That's all good. And then if we can get that like in production, we can really plan out getting a 6-pager from Alex, I get a 6-pager from Ken, our 6-pager. We have our chromated 2-pager, and then the only thing stopping us from putting out the anthology, the turbo anthology, would be, when are we getting this stuff back, and how long would it take us to turn our Substack material into zine pages, because that sounds like a lot of fun. But we have to decide which of it will we stick in the book.
Yeah.
Right. Because we don't want to do the We Lose story until we have an artist for that. We don't want to do the Pitch Blend story until we have an artist for that. And
Well, you even mentioned there's pros to support this story.
yes,
So it's just that I mean, that's, to me, is easy. Like if we're dealing with Esoterra, Cremita, so on and so forth, we already have Substack material. You've got doodles. I will scan them for you, or however we'll go about
I hate when
doing
you
it.
call them doodles, because when I think of doodles, I think of like when you're on the phone and you're just making designs on the edge of a piece of lined paper.
Well, that's psychologically. It's psychologically to get you out of the headspace that you are responsible for making art. I only want doodles from you in the way that the text for the Substack is just that. It's just stream of conscious stuff that's pouring out of your right ear one day and your left ear the next day. You know what I mean? It's not to be it's not to be refined on Substack. It's just to be shared. And then when we say, hey, you guys, thanks for following us on Substack. By the way, we have our 3rd anthology now teaser out with how many ever pages, and and this material that you've been privy to is now been refined, and so come on over and check it out. That's the process. Instead of, oh shit, I need to make a well-written story or story arc and a well-drawn illustration. It's just scribbles and doodles. That's all I require from for the Substack.
Yeah. So it was a great idea to do the Substack, because I put stuff in writing and it just kind of flows out. And Kurt's right, it doesn't have to be all edited and perfect. And sometimes I literally just ask a question in the Substack, like it questions to self, like what where how does Hawkwind meet Esoterra, and I'll just leave that in. So then when we're ready to move to a zine page, you can bet that when I take some illustrations, we're not going to call them doodles, we're going to call them illustrations, and I take some prose and I wrap it around, and it all looks like cool, like integrated into a zine page, that I'm going to be editing the text, right? And it's not just editing for content, it's also editing for length and fit and copy fit and all that. So we're going to have a lot of fun, and we'll have a zine page leading into the 6-pager, that for the Casualties. I don't want to say the one that Ken's doing, because we're not sure yet if he'll take that. But then we're trying to get to 32 plus 4, I think, right? So we have 18 plus 2 is 20. So we still have quite a bit to fill, right? So maybe
Yeah. I mean, even right now, I'm making my way on the 6 pages. This is page 15, and as you can see, I've been bouncing around 15, 16,
oh, we were gonna
17.
we were gonna do
What?
another 6 pager of issue number 2 pencils, right?
Well, just back up. There's so much that still needs to be done here. I still have this note sitting on my table as Jake starts working on the text, because that is that's the event of all events that will have to be completed before anything else comes in view. I think everything's going to line up. I think everything is lining up, Jake. I just think we need to just keep doing what we do, which is friendly reminder, everybody. Jake and I only get together every Sunday from 10 a.m. till 1 or 2, as well as, we're doing comics and influence and indie creator interviews. So it's pretty much all about that.
I got the word balloons right here, so we just have to catch up with what page goes where, because I stupidly never.
Yeah, but they don't match anymore, because there's a ton of edit we've done to them and scaling down. So it still goes into Quark Express, and we've got to
right. Well, that's the first step.
forage through that.
That's the first step. I got to find. Oh, so you're saying that these pages don't mean anything. We just have to open up the Quark document.
Yeah. I
so
think those you've always used as your reference. In other words, you go back and say, oh, okay, yeah. That I placed it. Okay, I think that But now we're going to change it to this.
So you want me, starting next episode, to open up the white computer, open up Quark, and then we'll start, and then we'll go over. Yeah. So I need scans of your final pages. They don't have to be final, actually, just your pages.
Yep.
Yeah, and you could give them to me basically 72 DPI. That's all they need to be.
Okay.
And then I'll lay them into Quark, and we'll put the balloons right on top of them, and hopefully so the we've been doing fine. The only puzzle has been like, where does this go? It goes. Everything's all laid out in Quark. It all goes somewhere. So we just have to find, this goes here, that goes there, and then we do our changes to update things, right? And
because there's a lot that was edited in the first 12 pages.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so it'll be the same. But we're gonna have a much quicker workflow now. What about the lettering? I want to free you of the lettering.
I don't want to be free of the lettering.
You don't want to be free of the lettering?
No.
Well, if I think
what you did with the Cremita and my lettering, I think is super freaking handsome. I mean, we have no and there's nothing to show right now because they're digitized files. But the best way I can describe what you did and do, and it's just, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but you play inside the mass of text with these different there's just the word balloon itself can be something where you can go in and see an art form, and I have no problem in us constructing a dummy font based on your handwriting or my handwriting, and then we use that to lay it in. I still want to give a 1-over on it in order to keep the hand feeling in there. So, because what you did in the 2-pager for Cremita is going to be a total surprise to people. I mean, I know they've been seeing these pages. I don't know where are they?
So here you go. I mean, if you want to do it the way we did it, so that was where I give you, we have some font that we worked out. I give it to you all laid out perfectly. Then you trace it. and then
just
I
right over
go and edit again. So I was thinking that if I create a font and and I just wanted to make sure that it had like 4 variables for each letter, and that they're randomly substituted so that it doesn't look like a computerized font, but it is. And then we just at that point we just type, and I can give you the Quark file all finished. So because I thought you weren't digging the time intensive process that we were going through before.
that was all on you though, Jake. That it had nothing to do with me. That was just your OCD driving down on the spacing between 2 letters and
Yeah,
that's all that was.
well,
I
yeah,
mean, you were literally
that's what's
taking
still
10
going to be
minutes,
there.
10 minutes on a sentence worth. But if
Right.
that's your process, once again, I'm not here to corral you or professionally rein you in. Other than once we got to 6 hours worth of going through that, I said, we just need to bring it home. That's all. That's all.
Right. So that's why I was saying this would speed up the process, if you
I
want to do it
don't. But
this way, because all it will be is me just like, I don't even have to create a font that you type. I could just have an alphabet that I drag and drop letter by letter and do it that way. But if you create a font, the computer does a lot of that for you. That you just still have to do all the kerning and everything.
Yeah.
So I could do it. But
Well,
we
I don't. We want to keep the consistency of the issue. Overall. So any of these nuanced changes would have to go back to the first 12 pages once we go to press on the entire, was it 28-page issue? So that just needs to, whatever we make, whatever we do, I would hope we would just stay in flow, the workflow we have established, just tweak it in a place here and a place there. Speed is not an issue because we're only meeting every Sunday to do this. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't want us to fall into a trap of getting shit done to get it out to marketplace, and the stuff is, quite frankly, subpar. Because I think one of the amazing things that we have here is an amazingly unique comic book, looking wise. And that's because we're doing 90-ish% all by hand.
Right, and that's so I just wanted to understand, because I made the process go much faster when I did the Chromita lettering, basically just by dragging and duplicating letters from one part of the page to the other.
But those were that's my type. That was my type.
It was your letters, but I had tweaked them already, and then we just start dragging and dropping and duplicating, and then and in some cases I'm just drawing a letter. It's like, oh, I don't have a G here, so I just draw it right on screen. But most of the letters, I mean, people are probably like, what are these guys talking about? But most of the letters were what you gave me, and then I just took out the the outliers and just straighten them up. I mean, people just saw an example of what that looks like. So Kurt, you know what I haven't come across in a long time?
What was that?
This right here, this document is the 6-issue map of the entire Turbo graphic novel. So we're talking about issue 1 and issue 2 here. So these are the major actions that take place in issue 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the climactic ending. And there's so much. Look, I drew the mecha here.
You have to scan
that. I know. If this gets lost, I'm screwed. This has so many. And look, right here is a little signpost that says El Bravo. I think that's what I was going to call the town. This is number 2, which we're making already. Let's see what it says. The pharmacy, the weapon, the hate breeders, the orphanage, the prison, mention Elevena. Mr. Ike, go to regionals. I'll take care of you. This says something. Oh, trophy girl. has a plan to be a high-price hooker. Turbo says, "I'll take care of you," and then Trophy rejects her. So that has to be somewhere in issue 2, right? It's a good thing I saw this. Sleeping with my sister again. This time it was this time it was her mother. Mr. I what did you do? Um we meet the unbeknownst one. He has a face ruined by acid. I don't know if that's too like. No, I think we're gonna. The reason why he has to hide his face is because he was humiliated when the tapes go viral. But that'll be revealed later. The death of Sister Ray, got that. They're just sniffing around. Let me know if they point a gun at us. I guess that's. Oh wow, that's the page that I'm doing now. The
Woo.
people that are tailing them. Um, we find out that Trophy Girl's real name is Talon. I don't know if we want to keep that, but we find out her real name. Mr. Ike's tech shop, and this is 800 yards away, boss. And then we're going to also meet the crosshatchers, which are guys they're like part of the mechanics guild. What do they call it? The mech tech, but they have scarred their faces with crosshatches, and they're called the crosshatchers. So that's all the notes I have for issue 2. Issue 3, Big Pig starts out. Big pit fight goes sour. Young Turbo meets Elevena and Polska. The second flashback, the forests are strafed, so they go underground. Turbo gets built. Polska gets sick, and on many others. We show the cruelty of the unbeknownst one. There's a pit fight and climactic. They break the sign of the venue. We talk about the prison. Corrupt guards infiltrated the RM. Elevena working on glower physiology. She gets the gun prototype from Turbo. We mentioned the tree lands, and Turbo and Polska escape together. They kiss in silhouette. Polska gets sick. They're called back to Elevena. Elevena's big death scene. I guess that'll be in the next issue. We have to develop like Elevena and her female prison scene. This says MAA equals weapons. What is that? There's a messenger, a mute girl, something, a lot of work for nothing, but survival more important than anything, and peace. So those are the notes that I'm working with, but I'm okay. I have in my mind already how we're going to move things along. So yeah, we're thinking of 30 pages for issue number, 32 for issue number 2. That's what I'm working on now. 32
Yeah,
pages.
right.
And then 30 pages for issue number 3, 30 pages for issue number 4, 30, no, yeah, and then 30. So that the graphic novel is a total of 180 story pages. I think that's a good length. And maybe we can do this, man, in a reasonable amount of time. I don't know. We're a third of the way through. Well, we have pencils for most of issue number 2, so we're I don't know. We'll see. I mean, definitely would be easier if I didn't have to work a full-time job. Right
Yeah,
now,
but once again, I don't worry about any of it. It's not. It's such a trap that we artists fall into, which is for us. There's no rationale to it. There's none. I mean, we could sit here all day long for the rest of the day and plan and schedule out every Sunday and an extra day to get this all. Oh, we're gonna bring this to you by September 31st, and then we're on October 1st. We're just oh, I'm sorry, life got in the way and everything. Yeah, because as much as we would love this to be up there in the top 3 things that we most do, it's not. I mean, it's close up there, but at the same, we just have lives and other things we're responsible
We don't have to
for.
make it.
And
We have a great
this
show
is
where we make
yeah,
these
we're doing fine.
pages,
I'm not
and
worried about it at
we're
all.
staying on that pace. But
Yeah,
long term goal, that's what that we're just sharing the whole process, and that's what we're
yeah,
planning. The long term goal, and we're looking at years and years, because once I retire,
yep.
then I'm just thinking of this Shangri-La, where I just have a drawing table, and you wake up every
But
morning with
even
beautiful
that's
sun
going to
shining.
even that's dimensionally going to be something way different than what we would hope it to be. You know, 10 years from now. You know what I mean? Like it just life's that way, and you've got to make room for life. And the positive message that we're putting out there is, you know, if you're dying to put something together, find somebody to work with, set up a time, 45 minutes to an hour, just go on live. Don't worry about the editing, just do it, and just make sure you keep coming back to it, because every time I spend 45 minutes with you having to run the podcast, answer your questions, write notes down, all the things that happen, I get 1, 2, 3, maybe even 5 to 10 steps further along.
Yeah.
So it's great. I'm still so super impressed, and I just really, really, really hope the message is going out to other creatives. Don't stress yourself out when it comes to your art and you being creative and having a good time. B, look for support. Find it somewhere. Even building your own little place on YouTube. But that's what Jake and I are really putting together here. So, and we do have to close this down, because I think we are going to be having a interview at 11:30. So
Okay. Well,
make the transition.
we didn't get to Esoterra, so we'll make this a future issue.
Exactly,
But
exactly.
rest assured, we have so much content to go over, and that's I guess my specialty, explaining these characters so that people can understand what they're all about and how they fit into the
It's
comic.
future reference point. It's what it is. It's a future reference point. So it's good stuff. So, but yeah, let's close this down. Just want to remind everybody, my version of the Turbo Pit Fighter is now officially out of stock, sold out. You can get a PDF version from kurtbrugel.com. So don't be afraid to swing by, give us a little bit of support, check out what's going on detail wise as the story's moving along, the first 12 pages, and some incredible just background information as we're talking, that this ends up migrating over to Doom Mags over at Substack. But we do the Comics and Influence, which we should be getting an episode together in a week or two, because we'll have a day off from interviews. But right now we do have interviews scheduled all the way through June. Not every day. I try to give days off. And for our indie creator exchange. So other than that, you got anything else from Jake?
Yeah, no, I still have a couple copies left. If you want the Turbo Pit Fighter, this is the professionally printed. You could get a copy still, and you get that through kurtbrugel.com or hellclaw.com. And we have the End of the World timeline. You can see all of our past installments written there about all the stories. And yeah, check out our 2 channels. We have Indie Creator Exchange, and lots of episodes there, and the Comics That Influence, where we flip through the best comics we ever got our hands on. So there's a lot here for comic nerds to nerd out and geek out. And we'll be back drawing again next Sunday. We'll go over the End of the World timeline, get back into that, see if we can get a little more regular. And yeah, just stay tuned. We're going to be taping today, so go ahead and binge all of our creator interviews, because these are some real interesting guys doing a lot of great indie comics.
Yeah, yeah. And I just also want to take a moment, if you made it all the way through to the end on our YouTube, thank you so very much. If you've migrated over from Instagram because you got a signal from there, double thanks for making that effort. And we hope that, Jake and I are always staying on point and delivering something to you. And as we always try to encourage, questions, comments, requests as well, clarity, anything, put them in the comments. Even after the video from live just goes into archive mode on YouTube, because I watch everything all day long, and we'll pick it up. But other than that, Jake, I will see you next Sunday.
See you guys next Sunday. If you see us on Instagram, remember, flip over to YouTube. You can see the screens. You can see more of the screens. And that's it. Ciao for now. Bye, everybody.